Red Wings defense got broken down on Saturday night. They lost 10-7, lost by a field goal to the Toronto Maple Leafs. And Terry, this has been a consistent theme with me where I really locked in to the point where I went down to the game Wednesday when they played Colorado. They fell behind 2-0, and it was essentially out of reach from that moment. I know they got back within one, but at no point did I ever feel like the Red Wings were a factor in that hockey game. And Saturday again, Terry, Toronto in town, Toronto. The atmosphere seemed like it was electric. And again, Terry, they give
all the little Canadians coming in.
Yeah, and it's fine. They're cute. They haven't been relevant about 50 years, 50, 60 years either. And that's fine. They're the Lions of hockey. That's what they are.
They are.
Check the math. The Maple Leafs are the Lions of hockey.
Except they used to be something.
So were the Lions in the 50s.
That was before the Forwards, though.
Right, but mathematically, it's around the same time frame.
All right. So
the Toronto Maple Leafs are the Detroit Lions of hockey. There's no debating that. That's what they are.
Bam.
They don't win. When it comes down to it, they lose. They always do. Except on Saturday when they scored 10 goals. So 10-7, they got the win. And Terry, I'm getting a little frustrated, and I know it's part of it. I know it's part of the building. I understand that. I understand they're not a playoff team. But this little stretch that they're on defensively, Terry, come on, man.
Yeah, but it was bad goaltending. Yes, there was bad defense, but I saw goals from both sides. I'm like, how'd that puck get through there? You could have had like one of those cardboard guys that you slide back and forth, and it would have had a higher save percentage than the goalies that were out there. But here's one question I have, and this is directed at Red Wings fans. It was an electric atmosphere. People were excited, and you get thrilled when you see all these goals. But what, for you at the end of the day, was it an exciting game or an embarrassment? Because, yes, they fought back from a 7-2 deficit, and when they cut it to one
Terry,
goal...
I love that you put it like that, because I'm getting, like, people are celebrating. They're saying, oh, it was a great game.
But you're embarrassed.
To some degree, yeah, I am. 10 goals?
Yeah,
the Maple
Leafs? You're not
Leafs?
supposed to give up 10 goals to anybody.
You're pulling the goalie, then you're bringing him back later on in the game. Grice, Nettie, like, come on, man.
Well, it turned into a free-for-all, and it turned into a joke of a game, because I was watching the game with a special friend of mine, Bibbs, and when the Wings cut it to one goal, I said they're going to lose by 3. Watch, because that's what they do. They fight, claw, scratch to get themselves back in the game, and then the defense disappears.
Which is my point about it, Terry. At what point does that wear out? They fought hard and they tried hard. At some point, man, you got to not allow 10 goals. At some point, you can't get dominated in the first period against the Avalanche and be down 2-0 and the game's a wrap. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, I hear it. Last game I went to, they were getting their asses kicked, fought to get back in the game, and then gave up some stupid goal at the end to lose by 1. But that's sort of what they are. And, once again, young team,
which
don't
I get,
know how to win.
Which I get.
But the surprising thing is the defense disappears. Now, back in the day, the way the Wings used to lose games, they would give up. They couldn't clear the puck out of their own zone, and the other team would score. Now they're giving up goals just by bad defense. And the thing is, you have Mo Seider, who's could win Rookie of the Year, and is one of the better defenders in the National Hockey League. He's beating the snot out of people, or at least hitting them. So,
and your big acquisition too was Nick Leddy, defenseman. I mean, now granted, he was going to be a one and done, certainly. Maybe used as a trade trip. Maybe you keep him, and I get why they acquired him. But that's, again, I'm not saying I am in the exact same spot I was after the Avalanche game. I'm not saying shut it down. I'm not saying the plan is trash. I'm not saying all that. But I am saying at some point, you can't give up 10 goals, man, and then tell me about how it was a good game. I'm sorry. And Chase Fletch Lives Daily says it was a definite embarrassment. Detroit Dabber says it was awful. And that makes me feel a little bit better. Where I don't, I know a lot of people were saying, oh, it was a lot of fun to watch and all that kind of stuff. Now when my team's giving up 10 goals, man.
Yeah, if you don't care who won the game, it was a great game. It's something you don't see all the time because in an NHL game, it's going to be 3-2 and maybe an empty netter, 4-2 or 3-1 or something like this. This was the big party platter that we don't see all the time. 10-7, and they're just going at each other. It's almost like an NHL All-Star game back in the day.
I don't know. Am I not being fair, Terry? I feel like I'm being very fair.
Well, you're being fair and unfair, but you're putting your expectations on this team maybe a little bit too early.
See, and that's what I'm trying to guard against, T-Foss, is don't get me wrong. They're not a playoff team. But teams don't give up 10 goals either.
And they don't score 7. So look at the bright side.
Okay, so you're in the it's a great game crowd. Which one are you, Terry? Is it embarrassing or was it a good game?
It's an embarrassment, but as it was going on, I was excited to see that game. But I knew how it was going to end. I knew they were going to lose by 3 or 4 goals because that's just sort of what they do. I don't have huge expectations for the Wings yet. I don't have huge expectations for anybody in this city yet. So you just kind of deal with it.
Yeah, I don't know. And I think we do know what the target will be draft-wise. I think we do know what the target will be trade market-wise, free agency-wise. I don't have the list of free agents in front of me right now. But do you feel as though this is something that has to be addressed, Terry? Because I do. If you want to... So here's the deal, okay? I'm being fair about it. I'm not freaking out about it or anything like that. It was embarrassing to give up 10 goals, and a lot of you have confirmed that suspicion on my part. But it is something that needs to be addressed sooner rather than later.
Well, I think they realize that that's the case because let's forget about the 10 goals. You don't give up 5 goals in the NHL, which is what they do. You don't give up, most of the time 4 goals against bad teams, which they do. So obviously this has to be addressed because the goal is to win a championship. It's to be Stanley Cup contenders again. And in order for you to even talk about championships, you have to be a defensive team. When Scotty Bowman came in, had a high-scoring team that was exciting to watch. What did he do? Fellas, have you ever heard of the left wing lock? You haven't? Well, I'm going to teach it to you right now because you're going to play defense. And Steve Yzerman, I need more defense out of you or your ass is gone. And Steve Yzerman, iconic guy here in Detroit, now in charge of everything, he could have been gone because Scotty Bowman didn't like his defense. So bottom line, you have to give up maybe 1 or 2 goals, bad night 3 goals. And so, yes, this has to be addressed, or the Wings will be just one of those teams that go up and down the place, up and down the ice, look exciting, but don't win anything.
And this is interesting. While I'm not there yet, and I've said this in the past, Charles says seems like the players are not buying into Blashill. He's a good minor league coach, but the team is now pros. And Fletch says the Wings are just so dang inconsistent. Lions rumble. Blashill doesn't rile or pump the guys up. And Tammy said this is a 500 team, which is fair, Tammy. I think we're all in agreement with that. Just on that outside looking in at the playoffs, just right there. And again, I understand this is part of the process. I get that. But what's happened lately has been concerning. And I know, again, they are very, very young. I get that. And there does come that point in a season, and T-Foss, you've been around sports your whole life, and you covered the NBA where I think you see it as much as you see anywhere. That quote-unquote rookie wall or that young player wall is a thing. That is something you have to build up to play this many games.
Right, but I knew it was going to come down to Blashill, but I don't see that they're not playing hard for him.
Yeah,
what
I agree.
see is they make stupid mistakes at the most inopportune time. That's not a rah-rah, come on, guys, I want to rev you. That's a thinking man's part. You become a thinking man the last 3, 4, 5 minutes of a game. And that's when, the Wings are flying high and everything, but they'll just do something stupid to lose a game.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's effort or trying to pump guys up. It's the mental part that is lost on me with the Detroit Red Wings.
Here's an interesting question, too. And look, We covered the coach. You knew there was going to be two taglines. You've been talking Red Wings in this town for a long time. There's going to be two angles that people are going to talk about: the coach
and the
goalie.
Right.
And that's what this is brought up here by Chuck. He says, "Is our future goaltender on this team right now? That is now in question after the last month." But I was told, Nettie was a steal, and Grice was solid and all that kind of stuff. And there has been a 180 in terms of the goalie play. And we saw some cracks in the armor, I think, last month, where we saw a couple of bad goals that were let in. The game in Colorado, I think, was really a warning shot to what we've seen. They are struggling. And that's why I don't think we're at the Blashill exit of the highway. We're not at the Blashill toll booth yet on the thruway. You know what I'm saying? We're not there yet. But the goalie thing,
I tell you what, I think the future goalie is on this team. Yzerman and all his henchmen are going to make sure that they are. Yes, am I scared by what I've seen the last month or 5 weeks? Yes. But I've also seen some great goaltending out of both of these guys at some point. So you have to decide, do you have to invest in another young goalie? Or do you get this year's Dominic Hasek for next season, whatever? It's probably too soon for that. But I think the issue is getting these guys better training, preparing the guys that you already have, because they're both young, and they've both been very good in this league.
Yeah. Sebastian Costa is getting a lot of discussion right now, a youngster in the Detroit Red Wings system. So I think he's playing out in the Western Hockey League right now, 15th overall pick in the draft last year. So and that's the way this works, right? Like, you just bounce from hope to hope to hope.
Right.
I understand that. It's just Cap City Sports Bro says, I turned the Wings game off after it was 4-1. Not even sad I missed it. It was an awful game. And that's where I was with it. And there was a lot of talk, around social media. And that was the impression I was getting, was everybody was just like, oh, that was a lot of fun. That was a great game. And I never felt that, Terry. I didn't.
I know you are a down-home sportsman. You want to see excellence. You don't care if your team wins 1-0. You don't care if your football team wins 13-10. You just want to see excellence on the field, whether it comes from offense, defense, or wherever. You're not a guy that's all for the free-for-all, unless your team wins 10-7. That's like, hey.
Which is funny, because when I watch college football on Saturday night, I live for that, but I'm not invested in it.
Right.
I like the Hawaii game when it's 41-38 and stuff like that. I like that stuff. I like sitting on the deck drinking a bourbon watching Hawaii play football.
Because you're not invested
I'm not
in
emotionally invested in that.
I'm just watching football to entertain me.
Yeah, and that's what I want to see. So Charles says the goalies are tired from facing 40 to 50 shots a game, so I say fix the defense, cut the shots down. The goalies will get tired at facing all of those shots. Fletch says somebody lied to you, Neal, about the goaltenders. No, you guys, you can confirm this. Sawyer, we were doing the shows, remember, when they made the Nedeljkovic trade. That's all I was told about, man, was this was a steal, and I can't believe we fleeced this guy. And I'm not saying he's bad. I'm just saying it's been bad lately, and that's being fair. Remember, too, when people thought you could trade Grice and get something at the deadline? Like, should they trade Grice and get something at the deadline? So, those were just all the things. Those were my concerns.
We had Nedeljkovic on the show here.
That's true.
And I was told it was a steal.
It's just
you're right.
Struggling right now. He is. He's struggling. But again,
you've seen greatness out of him.
You have seen him play well. And I know if DMAC were here right now, I know exactly what he'd be saying. And he would bring up Kosa and he would say, it's still part of the plan, Neal. Well, Neal, this is still part of the plan.
The Yzer plan.
Yeah, Yzer plan. Hashtag Yzer plan. It's not who, it's who. Like he would be saying those types of things. But he is right, though, because that would be part of the list, because they did invest a first-round pick in a goaltender. So it is indirectly he's saying that with his actions. He's saying, hey, this is something that we got to keep an eye on. And that's where I keep circling back to.
But here's the consistent thing in sports. Young players are inconsistent. Young players make you want to pull your hair out. young players piss you off because they do stupid stuff. It's exactly what the Wings are doing. But the Wings have moments where you're like, damn, they're pretty good. And then you go, oh, God, really?